Some games age well, others poorly. But what ages worst of all is the way that we think about video games. But I want to start this conversation with you about you, child you. Chapter 1. Approach. Kids can mull over a game, take their time to absorb little clues, then put them together. This lets kids have that wide-eyed experience where everything can be mystical and amazing, an experience that adults rarely have, because they stop themselves with thoughts like, I'm not even bothering to climb that, I don't believe the developers would even put something up there. Because of this, games that we plow through become forgettable and age poorly. Meanwhile, games which prod your imagination stay fresh, because their ideas are always present and never say no. However, there's way more ways in which games age poorly. Banjo-Kazooie, for example, has its control issue. Chapter 2. Controls. The first few worlds of Banjo are super vivid and packed with personality. Goofy characters, new moves, new minigames. But then, you hit Clanker's Cavern, and the game says no. Clanker's Cavern is a water level, which means you gotta slowly aim your bear underwater while spamming a swim button that's got delay. And of course, while still minding your oxygen. I've tried to beat Banjo like 3 or 4 times, even as a child, but this is the point where the game breaks and fades in my own memory. I just can't fucking make it past the swimming. But what about games that grew to age poorly? Chapter 3. Quality of life. I like Binding of Isaac. It has this unique, wet, naked, cold aesthetic that makes me feel embarrassed to play it, which is a great analogy for looking in on the life of Isaac, the child abuse victim. The game's thousands of item combinations are great fun, and some runs get amazingly wacky, but here's the but. Isaac is the rose from which all roguelikes stem from, and after playing games with substantial quality of life upgrades that learned from Isaac, it's hard for me to go back to Isaac. Why? Because Isaac runs work like this. A. Every run requires one good starting item, because otherwise, there's a massive risk you drop 40 minutes into a run only to die to some boss because you were never powerful enough to begin with. So B. You start every run of Isaac by holding down the R key to reload the world until a sacrifice room or an item room spawns, which means C. You go inside the room and hope it contains something decent, whereupon either you actually get something decent and the run starts, or you hold down R again and repeat this process. If you already don't see how obnoxious this is, compare it to FTL Faster Than Light, where you A. pick a spaceship and B. play the game. One way to fix this problem would be a basic loadout screen for Isaac that gives you basic choice to compensate for the RNG. This could look like choosing your first item at the cost of the first item room, or guaranteeing that the first room you spawn in always connects to an item or sacrifice room. But here's the thing, I'm a player, not a modder or designer, so all I can do is quit Isaac until the next update that hopefully fixes this. Chapter 4. Better versions. I was surprised by how little I enjoyed Resident Evil 4 the last time I played it, because I played it on PC. My memories of RE4 are amazing because I played it first on the Wii, which offers motion control quicktime events, a context-sensitive knife slash, and arcade rail shooter style aiming, all of which was amazingly fun to me. It might seem strange, but it is valid for people to miss nostalgic factors of how they first experienced a game. If I could play Twilight Princess upscaled at perfect 1080p, it would lose some of the charm it had to me when I first played it on a CRT. And whether these versions are better or not, it does make us more snobby, and in that sense does age the game we play. Like, I don't know about you, but I just would not play Halo without a controller. Lastly, for games aging poorly, I think what the universe comes down on hardest is plain nothingness. Chapter 5. Lack of, you know, that something, that je ne sais quoi, that juice that keeps you going. Bargain bin games like Gears of War, Anthem, Borderlands, The Division, Destiny, so on, utterly fail at doing anything well or poorly. They just sit in the lower middle of the gradient, which in my mind ages the worst of all. Case in point, which game are we looking at? It's 2010's Medal of Honor. This series was genuinely huge at one point in time, competing with Battlefield and Call of Duty. Yet now it's utterly forgotten. To quote Martin Pants, low-end mediocrity is worse than abject failure, because at least failure is fun to look at. These games often aimed to be the kings of some external factor, most often graphics or mainstream appeal, which misses the fact that it's the internal factors that actually makes the game fun. It's easy to remember something that made made you angry or happy, because a memory is information plus emotion. So games that we forget and that age the worst of all are ones that made us feel nothing. It's like trying to remember a gray screen. Like, you know, hey, good luck, man.